You're listening to the world-famous White Roof Radio, Woofcast number 651, recorded December 10th, 2018. Brought to you by MotoringStripes.com, CravenSpeed.com, and NowMotoring.com. Mini performance, speed, and style. It's NowMotoring.com. Okay, here we go. 1 and a 2. Hey, everybody, it's DB in Arizona with clearly one more episode of White Roof Radio for you guys. Gabe talked to Pat McKenna at the LA Auto Show. We had to talk about that. So I've got Todd and Gabe with us tonight.
This is exciting, DB. This is one more show for this year, but I mean, we never know when these shows are going to come and go. Everybody should enjoy every single one of them, right?
Everybody should enjoy these as they come, every delicious morsel. And you know what? If you're a Patreon supporter, there's like an hour for you guys over there too.
There's really good stuff. If you're not a Patreon
there's really
subscriber,
good stuff in this one too.
You need to go become one for just get yourself something for Christmas. Go to patreon.com/White Roof Radio and subscribe.
Do you mean that all those stories I just told are on Black Roof Radio?
Yes, Gabe. All the stories you just told.
All right.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good stuff.
Including and especially the one that I told you that you were on Black Roof Radio and you went, "Oh yeah, wait, hang on, gotta hold that one back."
No, you told me that, and I was like, "No, I'm gonna barrel through this because it's a good story." And when it comes down to it, I think that sometimes these folks are listening. Everybody's listening. And we're all mini fans, right? And I think transparency and honesty with stuff when we're just talking about things we like as fans, like that's the way to go, right?
Yeah, that's why I kind of like. That's kind of the fun thing about Black Roof Radio, I think, is because we just talk about stuff at random and whatever comes up, and and it just works out really nice and we don't have to remember anything.
Remember that night that we invented the Shuttlecast?
Todd's gonna have to look for that footage somewhere.
Good times.
Oof.
I stumbled onto a video that I recorded on God knows what, like God knows when, of me doing the show like 10 years ago.
Oh my God, I remember that video.
And
it was funny.
It's hilarious. It's really. I mean, by hilarious, I mean incredibly professional and impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of lost shows, Gabe, I've got recording of you, me, and I believe it was Matt Adams at the Detroit Auto Show. It was after we left the design party. And
you really?
You still have that too?
I do. I have audio of us looking for a Taco Bell in the deepest parts of Detroit night. Somewhere downtown.
Well, now that Taco Bell is probably a Shinola.
It is. Yeah, it is hilarious.
That's how long. I'm excited to talk about some stuff tonight, guys.
Yeah, me too.
There's some good stuff.
Me too. I got to see Puddle's Pity Party. I'm pretty excited about that. Want to share that out with the White Roof Radio listening audience? No, wait, wrong show. Sorry, hang on.
Sorry, you lost like 40,000 of our listeners.
No, Puddles. Puddles. He's a 8-foot-tall giant man dressed like a clown, and he sings like what's his name? Gomer Pyle. It's amazing. Anyway, funny show. But that's not what we're talking about for reals. Gabe you guys probably heard it, and if you didn't, go back first. There's a prereq for this show. You need to go back and you listen to Gabe's interview with our good friend Pat McKenna. If you haven't listened to that yet, stop. It's the last show in your feed. It's the one directly behind this one. You can't miss it. It's 25 minutes. Go back and listen to it, and then you can come back, skip ahead to wherever we're at here, the 4-minute and 35-second mark, okay? And then we will continue the show as soon as you're done.
Yeah. And for longtime mini fans, you've known Pat McKenna since about 2009 when he was in product development at Mini USA, and now he's moved on to marketing. He heads up marketing at Mini USA. So he's got some new insights, and it was a fantastic interview, Gabe. I mean, I thought really insightful. I thought he was really open. Was the thing?
Yeah, no, he was, and I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about it, well, his openness, but Pat, like you said, came from product. and then he subsequently has moved into marketing. So he has a view of the Mini world that is really wider than anybody that I could think of internally. So his when he starts to speak about how to market products, well, he actually has the background and and frankly, all of the details and all of the war stories around those products, how they came to market, why they came to market, what they had to make happen. And so it's interesting to me to hear him speak about the challenges of marketing within that context. One of the things that he said that I thought was interesting is that one of the first things he did was a some hardtop creative. So the F-56 LCI came out earlier this year, and they did a spot with some campaigns.
Because I don't have TV, and he said that, and I wanted to go on YouTube and see if I can find the ads because I've never seen any of that creative.
I saw it, I think, on YouTube, or I saw it somewhere. And I think you're right, DB. I think there's something to be said about placements, et cetera. But we can get into that in a minute. But one of the things he said was, I basically said, I want to do a performance story around this car. This is the car that we all love. I don't have one right now. I've got a Countryman, but that's the car I love. That's the Mini. That is a Mini. And I think he was really excited to sort of bring back that heart and soul of the brand into marketing. And they also did some Countryman spots as well that were a little bit more, a little bit less about performance, more about utility. And you can listen to the interview. He paraphrasing here, but he was really surprised at how the hardtop it just didn't resonate at all, while the Countryman killed it as far as what people liked about it and responding to it.
Well, I think they're discovering it's two different markets. They're two different groups of people buying these cars now. They're still minis.
There's less people buying the hardtop, and I think that's the thing that is, or I should say, more people buying the Countryman.
Right.
That's, I think, a more of an apt way to look at it. Now, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that's the way he looked at it, and his response was, it's okay. The hardtop's going to be okay. His exact words were, "It's going to be fine. It's the heart and soul of the brand. It's not going anywhere," which I thought was actually a nice thing to hear.
Right.
But the Countryman is the horse they have to ride right now.
It is, and I think that's where we are in the United States. And DB and I were chatting a little bit about this.
Yeah, before you joined us on Black Roof.
That
I think this is, by the way, I think this is the ad that Pat was talking. Some of the creative Pat was talking about a second in Slack.
Yeah, I think that there's a number of problems in the U.S. DB said one of them is people think larger cars are safer, and that's not necessarily true. I really don't think the price of gas has as much to do with it as it has in the past, and that's because the larger SUVs now are getting really good gas mileage. They're getting in the high 20s now. And
every car gets 30 miles to the gallon except for like pickup trucks.
Well, and you're the largest of the SUVs
and the Suburbans and the Escalades and those, right?
Or the ultra performance SUVs, the X6Ms and things like that don't get.
Sure.
They're still getting below 20 or right at 20. But so
or the big Jeeps.
I think even if gas prices go up to $4 a gallon again or $5 a gallon, the people are going to still hang on to for as long as they can and still desire those larger vehicles and the trucks just because of the perceived utility. It still blows my mind because the other day my lady friend and I are driving on the street and we're looking going, you know what? Everything on the road is trucks and SUVs, but look, there's one person in each one of these damn cars.
Yeah.
Why do you need 3 rows of seating when there's one person driving around in the car? It makes no sense to me. It seems inefficient, unnecessary, and I get it if you got 4 or 5 kids and you need those 3 rows of seats. There's a very valid point for those in the marketplace. But to make you feel big, what is it? I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, we don't get it, Todd, because we like small cars.
Yeah, well, I like sports cars.
So that's why we don't get it, and we like efficiency and blah 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 blah.
So this is a slippery slope, but number one, DB, that's not the creative. That was actually hit the spot. He was talking about like a 15. There's like a 15 and a 30, actual commercials. But the SUV crossover thing, like we could talk about it forever. I think the reality is the marketplace.
It's where it is.
Veering towards larger utility-driven vehicles, and automakers have figured out how to make them moderately efficient, moderately quick off the line, and they're okay, and people are okay, and it's the new sedan.
But step back of it, and not even look at it from a consumer standpoint or even an enthusiast standpoint. Look at it as if you owned one of these businesses, because car companies make so much more profit off of an SUV or a truck, because there's really not that much more into it than there is a car. There's some more raw materials, but the cost is so much greater for the consumer to buy.
Well, it's the same reason. So let me ask you. So let's go back. I'm going to give you a mini analogy.
Mm-hmm.
The Countryman, first generation, and the Paceman. The Paceman was what, $2,000 more?
Yeah.
It was actually cheaper to build.
Yeah.
Measurably cheaper to build.
Yeah, it was all a perception thing.
It's all perception. It's all marketing. And so that is what the car companies are doing with crossovers. So the crossover is more or less identical to how much a sedan costs to build. In some cases, it's less expensive because it's easier to pass crash tests with the space that's given. So,
right.
Long story short, it's obviously just a giant way for automakers to make a little bit more cash, which of course they desperately need.
Right. Well, they're making more profit, so they have to sell fewer individual vehicles because the profit margin per vehicle goes up. It's like it's the craft culture of. And really it is, because if you're say making a craft beer, and you guys know this, you go out and you buy a 6-pack of craft beer and it costs you $12-15 sometimes, right? Or if you can buy just a major brand beer and it's going to cost you $6 for that same 6-pack, or $8 for the same 6-pack. There's a huge difference. Does it really cost them that much more? No, but they don't sell as much of it.
Some of the smaller craft beer companies, it might cost them more.
Yeah, it costs them more.
But that's just
substantially more.
Yeah.
No, but it's actually not necessarily true. I know a little bit about this. The ingredients, there's certain hops that they actually have to buy in some scenarios that cost dramatically more.
A lot more than
those
what
hops,
buying.
But these are, so the ingredients are.
But Todd, I understand.
Yeah, the point is to compete in the marketplace is that they have to sell it at that kind of a margin, because they're only selling 100 of those 6-packs, whereas Budweiser is selling 10,000 of those 6-packs.
It's funny. It's funny because I never see Budweiser anywhere. Yeah, and all I see is craft beer. So
I see it everywhere.
It's I see it for sale. I don't see anybody ever drinking it. So it's kind of hilarious to me. I often wonder, like, who actually buys it.
Gabe, you need to go to places where they actually wear slightly looser pants.
Looser pants? What's that mean?
Oh, sometimes I kill me, but it makes it really bad when Gabe doesn't get it.
But anyway, I think the point is that we are where we are in the marketplace, and that at least in the United States, consumers they desire the larger vehicles, the crossovers, the small crossovers. And right now, I think the small crossover market is killing it, because look at all of the different brands. Everybody from Toyota to Land Rover to Honda, they all have this like below something smaller than a Countryman, even. Okay.
Yeah.
The CR, not the CRV. What is it? The HRV, Honda HRV in that size, and Toyota's got.
That's actually about the size. It's a little bit smaller than a Countryman.
A little bit, not much. Or say a Kia Soul, for example. Okay.
That's about the size of a Countryman.
It is close. But the perception.
I thought the Kia Soul was a little bit bigger. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it is actually.
Yeah, and I think it's just the perception thing. And my fear is this, Gabe, and you may have a little more insight than me, is you look at it, and Mini is wholly BMW now. Okay, it's everything comes from the top.
No, not really. You'd be surprised.
Well,
I can tell you in a really clear way that they operate independently, and they operate with, not to get into the details, Mini operates by taking some of BMW's tech and marrying it with different design and other technology to create the cars they have. So, and they have to, they have to go their own road, go their own way often.
Well, okay, so where I was getting to was what my fear is, that you look at a company like BMW, who's soon to have 8 different models of SUVs. They've got 1 through 7 now, and soon to be 1 through 8. Is that right? An X model, an X1 through.
They
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're going to have 8 different SUV models, from an X1 to an X8. Okay, and a couple of variations in between. They've got performance models of that. They've got M level of it, and they're killing it in that market. They really are. That's where their profit comes in, is in those cars. It allows them to make some really cool, the M cars that are, the full-on street race cars and things like that, because it's a profit center. So what I see is, are we looking potentially, if Mini someday will have 3 different SUVs and a hardtop? Is the Clubman going to morph into something, or is there going to be something between a Clubman and a Countryman, like a small SUV, or is there going to be something larger than a Countryman?
But now I have to go back though. I have to point you back to Mr. McKenna's interview with Mr. Bridger in the back of the Countryman at the LA Auto Show.
Front of the Countryman for the
whichever.
Scoring at home.
Where I don't think, and I think Pat also doesn't think, and I would hope that nobody else at BMW also thinks this, I don't think the Mini brand can handle any further SKUs, especially if they're larger.
Yeah. No, well, so DB, here's the thing. If you listen to Pat's comments pretty clearly, right? If the United States, if the focus globally was on the U.S. market, the U.S. market could absolutely take a larger Mini crossover.
Yes.
It would
which Pat said, and I agree with him.
However, if you read between the lines, the U.S. is going to have a hard case to make from a business perspective if sales have fallen, because they have fallen to the degree they have, and now suddenly the U.S., which is at one point was the largest Mini market in the world, is now
like third
not
or fourth.
That at all.
No, it's third or fourth, right?
Yeah, and so if that's the case, then the rest of the market, the rest of the world, if the Mini range kind of looks correct to the rest of the world, then it's probably going to stay somewhat similar to what it is now. What I think is going to happen is, I believe that the Countryman is going to, next generation, grow slightly. I think the Clubman is going to turn into some type of Countryman-esque vehicle,
somewhere between where it is now and the Countryman.
I think so.
I would say so too.
And I think that you're going to see, the jury's still out on the hardtop. I think it's going to exist, and I think that this collaboration with this Chinese company is really going to be fascinating, because in a sense, BMW has an opportunity to leverage economies of scale to create a smaller car platform that's more suited to the Mini brand, theoretically. And you could have something pretty cool, pretty different, and pretty like Mini-like.
Well, and I hope whatever it is replaces the existing 4-door, because I think it is
please.
I think that car serves a place in the market right now, much like the first generation Clubman, the R55, served a place in the marketplace. But now it's like, no, I don't feel like it fits that well anymore. And if you own a 4-door, apologies to you, I'm not a fan of that car for a lot of reasons. I think it seems like it was second thought, and I know it wasn't, but design-wise of the car, there's so much about it I don't like.
I don't find it to be much better looking than a Fiat a 500 XL. If I'm honest, that's how ugly I think it is.
I don't think it's that bad, but I do not think it has real.
It looks out of place. It's weird.
Great.
Well,
aesthetics.
I don't think it's that bad either, but I hear you. Certain angles are kind of funky.
Yeah.
But let's change gears slightly, because I think we have a pretty interesting not confirmation. The official term is a hint at what's to come for next year. A hint.
Yeah.
So, and I have to say this, guys. I'm doing this with an empty cocktail here. So
mine's empty too, Gabe. Suck it up.
Hey, I've still got some. I'm like slow. I'm getting old.
Damn it. Well, all right. So
I only had a beer, so I had a founder's thank you, just for you.
Good for you. Appreciate that. So, okay, we have in 2014 we first published an article, we as in Motorfile, around a rumor that Mini was going to be releasing a 300 horsepower Countryman and Clubman at some point within that model's cycle.
Yeah.
Over the past few years, we've not only talked more about that in detail, we've seen prototypes of this car, and last year we got very detailed information around that car. Then, fast forward, earlier this year, BMW releases the X2 M35i with an engine, B48, just like the Minis.
Just like the JCW.
302 horsepower.
Yeah.
That is our engine. So we have now all the detail around this car and all the technical detail around the engine. So we know it's coming for sure. We got a hint, officially, if you will, in our interview in LA with Mini, that it was coming as well. And so we've kind of put all these pieces together to show you the reality of what will be Mini's fastest, most powerful car ever. The 302 horsepower Mini Countryman and Clubman. These cars will be, from our sources that we across the Atlantic, they will debut around the middle of the year. They will be in showrooms in the fall. They will be automatic only. And they'd have
to be with 300 horsepower.
Well,
not necessarily.
I have a manual with well over 300 horsepower in my garage, but it's
rear-wheel drive. Anyway, go ahead and continue.
I hear you. Well, the all-wheel drive. I mean,
and I say that the Honda, the Civic,
no reason.
The Civic Type R has 308 horsepower and it's front-wheel drive.
Yeah, there's no reason for these cars to be all automatic. Theoretically, you could do anything. But my point is, they're coming in the fall. They will be automatic only. They will be 0 to 60 under 5 seconds. These are cars that many of us have wanted for a long time. Yes, they're automatic only. You know what? The automatic they're going to put in these cars, the performance of that automatic, it's really good. It's really, really good, and I think it's gonna change the minds of a lot of folks out there.
I don't know. It's still going to be
no. It's not what I would want.
No.
But
because it's going to be $45,000 is the problem. It's going to be a $45,000 Clubman, JCW.
Why is that a problem?
It's not for me.
The average price of a car is like $38,000.
No, it's 32 right now.
No, it's not. The average price of a car in January 2018 was 37.
It's 37. Okay.
37. Kelley Blue Book. So get the Google out, you'll see it. So so this is a car at $45K for that
36,000 based on January 2018 data.
Yeah.
For that performance, it's solid. It makes sense.
It does if you like the styling and you want an SUV. So, which I say is great. So now begs the next.
Not necessarily. The Clubman's going to be there as well. The same deal.
Yeah, but we already know, and I don't think the Clubman's not selling now because it's not performance enough.
Well, of course not. But I guess my point is, like, there's going to be people out there. Listen, if you want to have a high performance Mini, and you like the larger Minis, and you want the 4-door Clubman, which by the way, 300 some horsepower, it's going to be really fast. It's bigger than a Golf R. It's got more utility in it. It's better built in my mind. It's better designed. It is this is shocking to people, but it's rated higher quality. Why is that not worth the same?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I think we're running into perception problems, and this all comes back to marketing, though. Is you've got to overcome those perceptions of what it is, and I know at my local dealer they've sold maybe 3, maybe 4 or 5 JCW Countrymen total since they've been available. Okay?
Yeah.
It is not a great selling car. We sell 30, I want to say between 20 and 30% of the cars they sell every month are JCW hardtops at my dealer.
Yeah.
Okay, so people who want the performance version of it, they're buying the hardtop, not the JCW. But I do think there's a market. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a market for a performance SUV, and I think you start looking at marketing of other SUVs now, and they're all going to look at the performance you can get out of this thing.
JCW, the Countryman JCW Countryman selling very well from what I've heard. So it's doing well. The Clubman is not. The Clubman obviously and we always knew it would. It's a wagon, in America. We should just all applaud that it's even available.
But I suspect that it's selling worse than the Paceman did now. I think Clubman numbers have dropped below where the Paceman was.
If you look at the actual numbers, it's not that bad.
All right.
I mean, it was the Paceman was in the double digits.
Yeah.
I mean, that was another echelon.
I have another car that I don't think sold very well because I'm looking around right now on Auto Trader just so you guys are talking about cars that I can't drive or wouldn't because they're 300 horsepower and that's just dumb. But so I'm looking for a 2015-2017 two-door Cooper with manual transmission within 500 miles of my zip code, and I found 12.
Is that high or low?
That's low, Gabe. That's low.
Oh, okay.
12. 12 within 500 miles.
That just means it's a rare car. That's awesome.
Well, it means two things,
but
too.
They're all pepper white. And that's also two-door also, by the way. I forgot to throw that in there.
I love that they're all pepper white.
Well, no, here's the thing I also say about that, Gabe, is, one, it's probably rare, but two, the people who own those are keeping them longer. All the people I know with manual transmission cars are keeping them somewhere along 7 to 9 years, sometimes maybe 10 years or more, if they really like the car because, they're gonna last that long. But... Yep. Anyway, the whole point is let's move it on down the line a little bit. Is something else that Pat said in the interview that he was excited about next year's JCW offerings and mentioned the GP. Okay, said yes, that's confirmed for it, and so
2020.
So yeah, and that's another year down the line. But it begs the question: do you think that GP, Gabe, you personally, do you think that is going to get anywhere near 300 horsepower?
Well, I know the answer to that.
Okay.
We've already published it on Motorfile, in fact. The GP is the original target for the GP was 280 horsepower. It's a detuned B48, yada, 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 the same that will be found in the Countryman Clubman. So it's detuned from that. It will have a fully adjustable suspension. That suspension, the geometry of that suspension is supposedly suited to handle the torque steer or torque, if you will, of power through the front wheels because it will be front wheel drive. So it's going to have a 280 horsepower engine, and it will be motivated by, and I hope you're ready for this, an 8-speed automatic.
Which, I mean, with that much horsepower, it makes complete sense. And here's why. As I've driven and Gabe, from driving the JCW Countryman right now, I've driven this for almost 3 years, and the F-Series JCW is very slow to spool up. They basically don't give you any torque in first gear. All of that comes on in second gear, and that's to kind of protect the engine a little bit. And
you know what's interesting? That's only on the hardtop.
Really?
The Clubman and the Countryman are dramatically different.
Because you have all-wheel drive and you can lay all that torque down at once.
Yeah, they actually have. It's got 260 some foot-pound of torque.
Yeah, it has more torque.
It's quite a bit more. And they give it to you, and if you look at the curves, they give it to you right away. And you're right. It's because it doesn't matter. You can lay it down all day long.
Right. And in my car, for example, I've got a manual transmission, JCW, and you take off, it's terrible off the line, absolutely terrible. And I don't care how good your tires are, it's going to suck until you get to second gear. Now, granted, you get there pretty quick because the car redlines at 6,000 RPMs, And so you're there pretty fast to second gear, and then it's like somebody hit the nitrous button. As soon as you jump into second gear, you get all that torque, and you literally take off like a rocket once you hit second gear. And you'll pull away from, a lot of other cars, or, yourself, if you will. But anyway, the point is, because of that and the way that engine reacts, and this engine is just going to be the GP engine is just a modified version of what's in the existing JCW, they're going to have to use computer technology to smooth that out so it is faster from 0 to 60 and a true performance car.
It'll be an automatic.
It makes complete sense. That was kind of the point I was getting to, going,
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt my feelings that it's not going to be a manual transmission. The fact that I don't know how to drive an automatic, that's a problem.
I know. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of people out there that just really may have been sort of saddened by that news, and I understand that. I respect that. I think the question I'd have is, what do they want Mini? Where do they want Mini to go? Because to go further, you're gonna need all-wheel drive. Yeah, that's gonna increase weight and increase price.
Yeah, although I want to say Mini's gotten to the point now where an automatic transmission is no longer a cost option in the top 2 of the 3 tiers in a hardtop. It's now a no-cost option. It comes with an automatic for no charge, or a manual transmission for no charge, which is interesting to me. And I wonder if that's just kind of the stair step that's getting us to, if automatic's no extra charge, we're just going to go and get it. This is kind of a test market for it. And this dwindling percentage of cars that are manual transmission, DB, as you just have found out, is going to be because of this, that now when you buy a new Mini Cooper, you're not going to pay an extra $2,000 for $2,500 or whatever it was for an automatic transmission.
For an automatic, yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm not disappointed by that fact. I think it's interesting. I wonder if they can exceed that 280 horsepower or is it going to be faster than the 300 horsepower version of the Clubman and Countryman? It's got to be. It's a GP. It's literally got to be faster 0 to 60 than both of those cars.
100% it will be. Okay. I mean, it's lighter.
Yeah.
I think, and that's the thing that is so interesting. I drove not that long ago. I drove and I wrote it about on Motoring File. I drove a Clubman JCW automatic and a F6 JCW with the JCW Pro suspension, everything.
My car, all the pro stuff.
Your car.
Yeah.
And what was shocking to me was watching that F56 JCW just walk away from the Clubman on the straights.
Yeah.
And the Clubman, the irony of it is the Clubman could keep up with it in the corners.
The all-wheel drive
because
helps.
It had such great grip,
right.
and you could put power down more effectively in that car. But as soon as you got to the straights at a certain speed, it could not keep up with that little Mini. And and you know what it is? It's weight.
Hundreds of pounds more in weight, yeah.
When it comes down to it, you cannot overcome a weight deficit like that. And so the GP is going to have even less weight. And it will undoubtedly be the fastest Mini around a track. Will it be the fastest Mini in a straight line? I don't know. That'll be interesting. I suspect it'll be close, and it may not be.
I don't know. When 2020 hits, we're supposed to have an electric Mini, aren't we? Which is going to be the fastest Mini 0 to 30 miles an hour ever.
Well, there's going to be more than that. So if you want to hear some world first, world first, is that right?
Sure, why not?
Is that right? Mini is there's something else that comes out next year that they haven't been talking about yet. Mm-hmm. The secret of 2019. Mini will be releasing a V2 of the Countryman hybrid.
Okay.
So that Countryman hybrid is going to have a more efficient and dense battery pack, likely doubling the current range of the electric.
The current range of 12 miles, I think.
Or 12 miles. It depends. I've seen 14.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be closer to 30. And so not to say that's a everybody's like, wait, we were just talking about GPs, now you're talking about a hybrid.
No, it's fine.
But it's a fun car off the line, and that to me totally changes the game for that car, because at 12 miles, I mean, if you read the review of Motorfile, I was a little like, this is really a great car, but even a short commute, it's hard for this to make sense, and you have to rethink what it is. And I think a lot of folks just don't really look at a hybrid and say this is a different type of performance variant. They look at it as like, oh, okay, this is great. So you're telling me it's a plug-in. I never have to like put gas in it. Well, you're gonna need to put gas in it because it's only got a 12-mile range. On in the winter, it's even less.
Right.
But if you get it up to like 26 or so, that's different. Like that, you could conceivably go back and forth to work and just plug it in, and you could theoretically then not put gas in it for many, many months. Mm-hmm. And that's where it's like, suddenly it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Like this is more or less, it's almost like an electric car.
Right. Well, it's something that, okay, here's, and then this will bring us back around so we can wrap it up then, is let's look at the elephant in the room for Mini right now. Sales suck. Okay? There's no question about it, and Pat, I love you. I hope you're listening. Yes, Mini sales are only down like 3% year over year, but
2 point something, by the way.
Well, and they went up a little bit because November numbers came out after you did that, and November numbers were down 12.5%. So it kind of made it. It pushed it a little bit beyond, I think, 3%. But anyway, my point is that's year over year. Last year was a shitty year, and the year before that was a shitty year. It's been.
But his point is that the trend. It's like, if you look at other small car makers,
I get
they're down even more.
I get it, but we're looking at a car company where, and I've been around this the Mini business since 2002. I've been around the dealer, and I've been working on the cars, and I know how many I work on, and I know how many I work on now, and it's 30% less since 2013. Okay, and so everybody in the Mini business, from salespeople to whatever, are making 30% less money now than they were 5 years ago. That's a problem, because we're losing good people. My dealer used to have like 5 salespeople, now they have 2. Okay, right. And this is happening This is happening all over the country, and I worry about losing good people. So that's what I'm saying. That's the elephant in the room. I don't think sales are great. They're not like the sky is falling. Oh my gosh, Mini's going out of business. No, don't think that's what I'm trying to say here. But they do need a boost. And what's it gonna take to do that? And it's multifaceted, and the one thing nobody suggested at this point that I don't think would cost Mini a damn thing now, and they could start January 1, is bring back the 336 maintenance, the full maintenance on this car. And I say that because the F series, or I like to call the effing generation of Mini, this effing generation of Mini is such a solid car. They're not going to lose that much by bringing that back, because it was a selling point for us back in 2002, 2003 when we first bought our cars. We're like, yeah, this car's a little bit more expensive, but look, they're giving you 3 years, 36,000 miles of brakes, oil changes, windshield wiper blades, the clutch if it goes out. All of this is included, and there was peace of mind there going, you know what, I'm getting value for this money I'm spending here. I don't have to go buy a Hyundai, because the Hyundai's $5,000 cheaper, and they're going to stand behind it for 5 years. And Mini is
and not only that, Todd, but it also kept foot traffic up at the dealerships, right?
Yeah.
So people were able to develop a relationship with the people at the dealership, or they're buying swag or whatever,
right. Right.
And that's part of what's they've removed a huge social component out of owning the car, and that was hanging out at the dealer.
Because right now the maintenance you get with let's say you buy right now a 2019 Mini, you get a 3-year, man, I'm using air quotes here, maintenance, which is basically a couple of oil changes. That's really all you're getting out of it in in reality. Whereas you used to get wiper blades, and you bring it in, and like I said, it covered brakes. No, not many people. But see, the problem is many got burned from 2007 to 2014 on really bad build quality. And Pat said that, right? He apologized from Mini standpoint.
Can we just take a step back and say how great is that?
It is great.
We all know Pat well.
Yeah.
He's such a stand-up guy. And I think it's really great for people in the Mini community to hear what we've always known, which is these people at this company really care about these products and care about the owners. And it's hard sometimes to express that.
Yeah.
He did it, and I think it's just fantastic. And so he's basically saying, there were some problems in the second generation, and you know what? If you didn't check your oil all the time, like, man, you could have had some serious issues. And yes, there's some things that they've done, and Mini has spent a lot of money fixing people's problems. Did they fix all of them? They did not. I mean, I know there's stories out there that aren't good,
and there's a lot of angry. There's still a lot of angry people, and I think,
and they should be like, when you lose money, when you have a car and you love it, and that car breaks down, and in a way that it shouldn't, and Mini doesn't fix it for you, and it's out of warranty, and you have to spend, God knows how much money, thousands and thousands of dollars of money that you do or don't have. That makes you pretty freaking angry,
right?
And you have every right to be,
right. And I get it. And Pat even acknowledged that, and more power. And I say, applause to Mini for that, of saying, they acknowledged that there were problems in the, our 56 generation of cars, and I say 2007 to 2014 ish. That I get, but a lot of people are saying it's too little, too late to do that. That's factor one. Factor two is, I gotta say, the marketing turned a lot of people off in 2014 when Mini turned the corner and said, "This is no longer a fun car. This is a sophisticated premium car." We think,
right?
And I'm not saying that sarcastically. I've got the actual video that Mini released to the dealers of, at the time, the head of Mini USA, David, don't call me Dave Duncan, said straight out, Mini has got a perception problem. People perceive it as frivolous and goofy, and we're trying to get away from that. So they changed the corporate identity, which is great. I don't have a problem with the new identity.
Think part of it too is that they also looked at this and said there's a lot of reasons for it. They needed to increase the unit price of these cars.
Yeah.
Because they kind of had to, because the cars, they spent a lot of money, as you heard in the interview with Pat. They spent a lot of money making them better, making them higher quality, and they're like, well, listen, these are going to be priced slightly different. This is now it's hard to argue this is not a premium car. It is, and we expect the quality and everything else to be premium, and so they probably had to back into that idea and say, like, this is premium. I mean, I hear you, Todd. I think you're right. Like, you're right to call it out.
And what Pat's but Pat even came out
too.
Yeah, he even called it out and said, listen, this car needs to get back to being fun. We need to get back to making this brand fun. And he gets it. Pat's been around long enough, and he's in marketing. He is the person who needs to get it, and he does. And that's where I have optimism for the future of the Mini brand, is as long as people like Pat and, Andrew are there, and a lot of people who've been around and were there when Jim McDowell was there, know the spirit of this brand. Let's bring that back. Let's bring back the SUV backlash kind of. I don't mean that specific. I don't mean that specific campaign, but that spirit of that campaign.
No, I no, you're totally right. That to me, there's something really special about that. Can Mini? And here's the question: that was when Mini had nothing to lose.
No, exactly.
That's when, and this is the thing that it's worth us talking about this. That's when Mini had. How many dealers? Like, not a lot of dealers.
Like 50.
They did their expectation of selling, like they thought maybe they'd sell 15,000 cars a year, and they just thought, we have nothing to lose. We're going to go at this hard, and it may turn people off. It may turn people on. We'll figure it out. Now
they started off the second year and they sold 40,000 cars.
They've got a lot there that they need to sort of take care of, and so. From a marketing perspective, sometimes it's hard to get back to that. I think it's clear to me that they can, and they should go in some type of direction that elicits a response, like an emotional response from people who haven't bought their cars before.
Well, and the common theme I hear from people, Gabe, and we've been hearing this for the last 5 years, is that Mini is a fun car. There's a spirit there that's good. Let's bring that back. Let's not forget who it is, as a car company. And I hope they get back to that, because I want to say they've almost got nothing to lose at this point too, because it's become just another car. They've kind of homogenized it into, like, we need to make this market driven, and so we need to compete.
I don't know if I agree. I mean, I think there's no car that Mini sells today that feels like just another car.
Well, the marketing feels like that's what they consider it, and that's what I'm saying is maybe from that line, because I think Mini is still the better, one of the best cars you can buy out there, especially for the money right now, and that's a tough sell, I think, to a lot of people. One, we've got all the things like we said, bad, reliability, reputation, and it's expensive. So it's like, I don't know. But I think the enthusiast community is coming back. I think there's like a new.
I hope so.
I don't think they're coming back yet, but I think they're listening.
Well, no, I think it's not the same. It's not the same community, but there's a resurgence of. There's a new community. People who don't.
Yeah, okay, I know where you're going with,
Yeah, people who weren't around, who were just like, they're coming into this going, I love this brand. It's awesome. And Mini, I think, should take hold of that and go, we need to coddle this, because it's what made the company great from 2002 to 2013.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. I think that there is something there that they need to look at clearly. I think one of the things that's difficult is the fact that the brand, the folks who had been such a big part of the brand from a sort of a ground level for years have been aging.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, I know we're very young. I mean,
speak for yourself, Bridger.
Whatever.
He's got grandkids now.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I will never have grandkids. My dog has been fixed.
That's hilarious. No, but in all seriousness, I think I think that there's a perception to some degree. I think there's a little bit of a perception problem at times from Mini and from us, because there's an entire generation or two that is engaging with these cars and this brand in a different way.
Right.
And Todd, to your point, they love it. Like, if you go and spend some time on Instagram and just basically like kind of bomb around various hashtags and various handles, you will see it. There's an enthusiasm about this brand and these cars.
Hashtag Mini Love is a good one.
Yeah.
That is everywhere. And I think that for those who are saying, oh, the brand's dead, this is that, you just actually lost touch with where it is now.
Right.
And it's not to say it's even in a bad place or a good place. It's evolving, like everything is evolving.
Right. And like I said, I think they need to find that core, and Pat even said that also in the interview. He's like, we need these people. We need to know what it takes to make these people evangelists again. Because Mini, as a small company, and that's kind of, and to kind of wrap it all together, Mini is a small company. They don't have a huge marketing budget to do it, and the customers are their most valuable asset in that, sharing the love and telling your family and friends and, people at the gas station about your car.
Yeah. So I think that's a really, really good point. He even closed with, not necessarily closed, but like, how does Mini capture that? Like, how can we leverage the enthusiasm from owners in marketing? And to me, that's such a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one that he wanted to hear. Like, I mean, obviously, like, that wasn't the moment where I'm gonna just like spout out ideas, but like, I think that the point there is that everybody listening, Mini wants to know how to do that. They're open to ideas.
Yes.
You got ideas, put a comment in whatever.
Leave a comment in the show notes. Try not to leave a comment on Facebook because we have a hard time.
Please don't. Please don't.
Honestly, with
it's
the
also,
Facebook, you guys end up commenting all over the place.
Facebook will also take that comment and somehow own your children. So don't do that.
I want you guys to click over to whiteroofradio.com. I want you to leave a note in the show notes. I want you to click over to motoringfile.com. Leave a note in the show notes. I want you to ping us on Twitter, either White Roof Radio or Motoring File. Leave us a message on Instagram. We really don't care.
Or just send us an email.
Can I get on a soapbox?
Email us feedback at whiteroofradio.com.
Can I get on a soapbox for a second?
Sure.
Oh, quick.
Don't. You read. I see you. You read Motoring File. I see you. You. I see your data. I see the data. You read, and then you go to Facebook and comment.
Stop that.
Don't. No. So and it's not. Here's the deal. It's not that I have some sort of like ego-driven desire to see comments on Motoring File, although there probably is subconsciously something there. But in all seriousness, that's really weird because you realize they're tracking you, right? Like they're totally tracking you. I'm not tracking you. Right. Now and Google Ads on my site, they're tracking you. They're tracking you. That's true. But they're not reading what you say. And they're not taking that and then trying to market that to other companies that then market shit to you in all the other channels.
Right.
You know who else isn't reading? You know who else isn't reading your comment when you're on Facebook, Gabe? The nice folks at Mini and BMW.
That's true.
Because they're all over the place. Yeah.
They read all the comments on motoringfile.com. So it makes it less work for them when you guys leave comments not on motoringfile.com. So really, you're just making more work, but they don't see the words you post on the internet unless you do it at motoringfile.com.
It's actually, DB, that's a better point. And I think it's again, it's like I say this with the notion in mind that like I just want people's good ideas to be seen by many.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stop commenting on Facebook for this stuff. Leave it with us. Trust me. They listen to the show. Hi guys. They read motoringfile.com. They do. For reals. We're not saying that because we want you guys to leave more comments, but we're saying that because they've actually told us. Oh yeah, I start my day. I listen to reading motoringfile.com.
Those who missed the Black Roof Radio earlier, that was a part of the conversation. I mean, I spoke with the guys from Mini today about stuff on motoringfile.com, and again, to your point, like the world of Facebook is a crazy, weird world. The world of all these social media, it's stuff that is important, but they're going to be more clued in to these channels.
Yes. Facebook is a lie.
I got a new phone. I got a new phone a couple weeks ago. And I only got a new phone because I broke my previous phone for the second time in 11 years.
Did you get a 10S Plus?
No. I just got a replacement for the 10. It's the first time I haven't bought a new phone in 11 years.
Yeah.
And my point in saying this is that I have yet to log into Facebook on my phone.
Good for you.
I went a full year on my phone before I finally had a breakdown and put Facebook on it.
Yeah. It's on there. I just backed up from my previous, but I haven't logged in. And I'm like, I'm gonna try so hard not to do it. You want a year? That's
a year, but then Motoring File and White Roof Radio made me log in to Facebook. So
yeah,
I
had to do it.
I have things on there. Around the sites, but that's a. So anyway, we've devolved.
So this means a really good time. We're gonna do something that I don't do very often. It is the last show of the year. What I want you to do, you ready for this, guys? I want you to click over the show notes, okay? Because there's gonna be a link in the show notes for cravenspeed.com, outmotoring.com, DetroitTuned.com, and MotoringStripes.com. Okay? Simple. You got Christmas stuff.
Oh, speaking of Christmas stuff, we have Christmas ornaments over at MotoringStripes.com now.
See, and there's Christmas ornaments. Todd's doing free shipping. Chad's doing free shipping. Aaron's doing free shipping. Depends on what you guys buy. I'm sure Craven's doing free shipping, and plus they're doing giveaways on stuff. I don't know if you guys get the emails from Jeremy at Craven Speed, but it's like going, dude, I don't want to buy something. Sell me that. And I forgot what it was, but it was really super cool.
Yeah.
They're giving away free stuff when you buy like $75 worth of things. Right? Outmotoring.com. He is got specials working, like it changes daily. So you have to just click over to outmotoring.com. He's still got the doorbuster sales going on. Get over there, get stuff. Do it quick, because if you wait too long, it'll come after Christmas, and then you won't have anything fun to put under the tree.
Yep.
Right? OutMotoring.com. Also, OutMotoring, Gabe, didn't Aaron just put a post up on Motoring File recently?
He did.
Yes.
It was sort of the Black Friday post.
Oh, that's right. It was. Yes.
Tons of stuff there.
Tons of stuff there. I want you to go over there and check. We love OutMotoring.com. So do you guys. We love CravenSpeed.com. So do you guys. Why do we love them so, Gabe? Why do we love them so?
Well, I'll tell you why. I mean, number one, if you want to get affordable products from around the world, you have no better place than Out Motoring.
Correct.
Let's just start there. You can get OEM stuff. You can get stuff, great third-party stuff.
Yes.
They are the Amazon of the mini world.
Yes, I like that.
So except they're family-owned and owned by like the best people in the world. So go and do business with those guys. They're awesome and they offer great products.
And I'm sure Aaron's going to need a oil change in his Aston Martin pretty soon.
He will. He will. And before you make assumptions, it's not like a brand new one. It's like one that he's working on. It's awesome. So then Craven Speed is amazing because they're just geniuses. They just invent stuff. And they invent stuff that when you see it, you're like, oh my God, I didn't know I wanted that or needed it, but that's what I've been wanting. That's exactly the thing I've been thinking about. So, and again, same thing, owned by great people. Like the stuff is made by great people. This is not some sort of nameless entity somewhere. This is another part of the mini community. Go support these guys. They're awesome.
Yes, thank you, Gabe. That was exactly perfect. Not only what Gabe said, but both Craven Speed and Out Motoring have been supporting us and the Mini Cooper community at large pretty much since 2003.
Isn't that amazing, by the way?
That's a long time.
Well,
I know Aaron's been around longer than since before you were.
Aaron started.
Craven Speed started about 2005, I think.
Yeah, they were not far behind. Aaron started right around when Motoring File started. And he was my first. 2003. It sounds strange to say this, but he was the first advertiser on the site. And so, in that respect, he's been sporting Motoring File. Has been sporting other elements of events and every part of really the mini community for a very long time. Extremely good folks all around both those companies.
Yeah, exactly. Go check them out, please. OutMotoring.com, CravenSpeed.com. Go over check them out. Todd's got Christmas ornaments at Motoring Badges. Really?
And free shipping with $25 with the code FREE. That's all you got to do. Spend $25, you put in the code FREE, you get free shipping.
Free shipping. Dude, rad.
Nice.
And don't forget, just make sure you're following Detroit Tuned on all the socials, because Tad's been posting pictures on Instagram, cool specials they got going on over at the DT, DetroitTuned.com. Do not forget, please. At the very least, I'm sure you know somebody who needs a Space Saver spare and a bag made by Mom, right? Free holiday shipping November 21st until January 1st for orders over $130 in the continental United States. That's at Detroit Tuned. Go! We have lots of options for you to spend your money at. Please start at Out Motoring or Craven Speed, then move on to Motoring Stripes and Detroit Tuned, if you'd be so kind. I would love that very much. And so would our sponsors. Anyway, well, gentlemen, this was an amazing show. Last chance. Going once.
It's been great.
Yeah,
going twice.
I've said it all.
Awesome. This, ladies and gentlemen, will be the final show for 2018 underneath the white roof. Thank you again for an amazing year. I hope you guys enjoyed all the Black Roof Radio. If you want to support us and help us out in 2019, if you'd be so kind, click over to patreon.com/White Roof Radio, like $1 a show. Doubles your content every month. You get your own private feed, the whole bit. And it just helps us do more cool and better things. That's all I'm saying. But go check it out. And if you're like bicycles, go check out ridebikesradio.com as well. Brian Dallas and I, we talk about bicycles and beer whenever we get around to it. It's actually a pretty fun show, too. Go check it out, ridebikesradio.com. Thank you very much. Otherwise, for 2018, I think we're done. Last chance. One more last chance.
That's it.
That's good.
Done. This is part of the show, then, gang, where I do like to make that funny clicking sound And then I say, questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead, click back over to whiteroofradio.com. There you can leave us a note in the show notes. You can also email us, feedback@whiteroofradio.com. Till next year, gang, this is DB. I'm done.
Cheers, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
Cheers, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Happy December 26th.